2, 1, speak.
Okay. Alright, so previously we talked about the 5 siblings born from Kronos and Rhea. So obviously the big 3, as they're often called, and who everybody knows, is Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades, the kings of the 3 realms. And of course Zeus is the king of the gods. So it's really hilarious because I think in a lot of adaptations we look at Hades and we're like, asshole. Major asshole. But Hades is like the least asshole-ish of all the brothers. Poseidon and Zeus are just constantly like fucking people and fucking people over. They're just really like fucking shit up. And Hades is just there being like, I'm gonna build a palace. I'm gonna build the best palace and none of you are invited, so fuck everybody up there. And the reason why this is originally when they were dividing the lands, it was kind of like they decided to draw straws and take random lots, and Poseidon was like, psst, psst, Zeus, I don't want to be down there. I don't want to do it. And Zeus is like, me neither. But you know who could take the fall? So basically, they set up an unfair competition to force Hades to take the underworld, while Poseidon got the oceans and Zeus got the skies. But as one advantage that Hades did end up with is that he isn't just the god of the underworld. In fact, he's not even a god of death. He actually isn't. There's many other gods of death in Greek mythology, and Hades is not one of them. He is the guardian of the dead, and he's the guardian of the home of the dead, but he is not a god of death. He is also the god of all riches found under the earth, so oil, gems, gold, any of that stuff that you find, and to some degree, like, some plant and agriculture, though it's not as common to see him associated with that unless he's associated with his wife, so that's good. So they basically draw straws, fuck over Hades, because fuck that guy, right? We're gonna make him a villain for the next 5,000 years anyway, so we don't need him to have any, like, say in this sort of thing. So he becomes the god of the underworld, Zeus becomes the god of the heavens and sky, and Poseidon gets all bodies of water. A lot of people know him as the god of the ocean, which is partially true, but because he also kind of has that weird dominion over lakes and rivers, yada yada yada, he is technically all water to some degree, which is probably why Odysseus was not like, I'll just take a fucking river home. But that's another story, which we will hopefully eventually get into. So a lot of people too remember that I pointed out that Hera is in fact Zeus's sister, and was in fact groomed from a very young age to also be his wife. So Hera becomes queen of the heavens. She also kind of becomes the goddess of family, and like marriage, which is hilarious considering her entire role is just to be like fucked over and cheated on constantly. She is like at home angry. She's the kind of person who, if they were mortal, would have cooked her husband into a stew and served it to his unknowing children because none of them were actually hers. So, you know, Hera's doing great. But basically she was groomed to be his wife, which, you know, totally illegal now, but Greece, what are you gonna do about it, man? So Hera and Zeus are eventually married, but that doesn't stop him from fucking his other sister, who is Demeter. Demeter becomes the goddess of the harvest. She's known to bring crops in every season. The idea is that the crops come with her happiness and go with her displeasure. So the Greeks believe that once upon a time she was very happy and everything was bountiful, and Demeter was to thank. She's often depicted with cornucopias. Sometimes she's carrying wheat. Sometimes she's mistaken for her own child because, like, this whole ageless, nobody looks different over 1,000 years thing really fucks over your family photos, if you know what I mean. And you will know that she has a daughter. And what you don't know is that her daughter's father is her brother, who is Zeus. So I need to put this in perspective for you. Zeus is married to his sister, who he then cheats on with his other sister, and produces a daughter who marries his brother, who's also her brother, but also her uncle on both sides. So, just to make your life more confusing, we're gonna get into that later. But basically, the moral of the story is if you fuck over Hades enough, you'll get what you want, and